5 different tactics that you can implement to help you serve more clients and increase your profit margins across the agency. Before we jump into things, I can see there's only a few of you here. So if you could let me know that you can hear me okay and that you see the slide deck on the screen, use the chat box that you'll see in I think it'll be in the bottom left-hand corner for all of you. And I am just going to quickly double check and make sure all of the invites went out okay and do some follow-up. So if you could let me know in the chat that you can hear me okay, that you can see the screen, I would really, really appreciate that. And we will kick things off in a couple of minutes' time. Hey, Elena, thank you for dropping that in the chat. Good to see you here. So as I said, everyone, if you're just joining right now, we are just going to hold off for a minute or two more. Typically, we have plenty more people on the session, so I just want to see if there are any issues with the invites going out or anything like that. I'm sure some people will join when they see the emails, so I think we'll just kick things off. Okay. Cool. Okay, so the final email should have just gone out. So I'm going to kick things off. Thanks, Mark. I appreciate that. Okay, cool. So let's kick things off. Today we're going to be talking about 5 tactics that you can implement to help you serve more clients and increase your profit margins with less resources. How many of you have been on these Promo Republic webinars before? If you can just let me know with a yes in the chat if you have, or a no if this is your first time here. That would be really, really interesting. So I love to keep these as interactive and engaging as possible. I know because there's a few less people than normal, we probably won't have as much backwards and forwards between all of you. So if anyone has any questions, make sure you bring them up, ask them away. I'm happy to run through them with you. So welcome back, Elena. I know you've been here before. Says or Chairs, I hope I've not pronounced that too badly wrong, is here for the second time too. So welcome back, everyone who is here. It is great to see you. So let's get things started. Today, this is the agenda. This is what we're going to be covering. I think we'll keep this webinar fairly short, direct, and straight to the point today, and make sure that we can spend a bit more time within the Q&A session at the end if anyone has any questions, because the group is smaller, I think it makes more sense to spend a bit more time together that way. So we're going to be covering to scale or not to scale, 5 tips for increasing your volume of clients and profit margins whilst keeping resources tight, and then we'll go through a Q&A session. So this is me, for any of you here who are new, if any of you are. My name is Dylan, and I am also, like you, a digital marketing agency owner. So I have been running my own marketing agency since May of last year, and before that worked for a number of other well-known, I guess you could say, successful social media businesses and tech companies such as Hootsuite, the social media management tool that you might have heard of. And I don't actually work full-time at Promo Republic. I'm not an employee of Promo Republic. I support them as, I guess, a brand ambassador and someone that looks after this agency and freelancer academy that they have. So any of you who don't know this already, Promo Republic last year launched a very specific offering, a great version of their tool tailored towards agency owners to help them grow their businesses, scale their businesses, and enable them to provide better client communication so that they can just work better with their clients all around. And when they released this new version of the tool, the specific agency focus, Max, the co-founder of Promo Republic, someone who I've known for a while now, reached out to me and asked me if I could provide some support with leading some of the content because they wanted to really focus on providing a ton of value to all of you, helping you with as much free content as possible. So we have this webinar series, which happens sometimes it's usually every other week, but recently we've been upping them and doing them every week too. We also have an online summit that we put together. The last one was happening in January, and we're actually just organizing one right now, which I think will either be in July or August. So you have to keep your eyes peeled for that one. And we also have a ton of really useful articles and in the blog section of the website. And we're also about to launch a really special project called the Agency Insider, which is a podcast and a video interview series that I'm putting together for the team, interviewing a number of other leading agency owners and social media and digital marketing influencers. So if you remember, I mentioned the agency-specific solution of Promo Republic. At one point during today's webinar, I will share a little about that solution with you for anyone who hasn't seen it before, just to give you a quick glimpse into how it can help you grow and scale your business. And if after seeing that, you do want to find out a bit more about that agency-specific solution, there will be an option to schedule a call with somebody within the team to ask some questions and learn a bit more about it. You should see a button appearing on the screen right now. So if someone could let me know that they see that, I'll pop that up on the screen a couple of times through today's webinar session. And anyone who schedules a call using that button, you'll be able to get your questions answered, see the solution in all of its glory and how it can help you and support you. But you'll also get access to a few really special resources. One of those is a collection of the 8 most popular webinars we've put together. So we've done over 28 or 30 of them now. You'll get the 8 most popular webinars along with you'll get the slide decks that we used and all of my notes that you guys don't see, the things that I lead these webinars from. You'll also get access to a premium piece of content that the team have put together, which is a resource list of over 60 different tools that you can use to help grow your agency, grow your business, along with descriptions of them, what they're all about, everything like that. And you will also, more importantly, I guess, for some of you, be offered a special discount on the price of the agency solution. So a lot is involved there. You get access to a lot of great stuff just from setting up that call and speaking to someone on the team. And I really would encourage you to do that. I can see we have a few more people here now, so welcome if you've just joined us. I'm really excited about today's webinar session, so let's dive straight into a couple of the core topics. So first of all, we're going to be talking about to scale or not to scale, at what point you should scale, what you should be considering before you start to scale, and then we'll go through some practical tips about how you can scale faster and how you can scale quickly whilst reducing your spend, I guess. So before we do that though, if you could let me know using the chat box what kind of size agency you're managing right now. How many employees do you have? How many clients do you have? It would be really interesting to see from a few of you. And I also want to say, like, full disclosure, I haven't fully scaled my agency or my business just yet. We're a year in. We're not huge. I don't have hundreds of employees. I've been part of scaling businesses in the past. When I was in the team at Leadfeeder, the SaaS company I was talking about a little bit earlier on, we went from 13 or 14 employees to 60 employees in less than 12 months. So I've been part of high growth companies before, similar at Hootsuite, but I haven't scaled my agency fully just yet. It's a process that we're now starting to go through after being a year in and building a good, solid foundation. So Aina has 5 in her team. John has 2 with 10 clients. Ches is just me with 7 clients looking to scale. Maria has 4. Awesome. Cool. Thanks for sharing that, everybody. So to scale or not to scale, I've noticed within the digital marketing communities and world that people have very varied opinions on how easy it is. We use the term easy loosely. How easy it is to scale a digital marketing agency. And these are 2 different screenshots and clips from 2 different fairly influential people within the space, I guess. So the one on the bottom is an article all about why it's hard and difficult to scale an agency. And this was written by Sujin Patel. I don't know if any of you know who he is, but he runs software businesses, SaaS companies. He's an investor. He also has his own agency. So he's been through that scaling and that growing process. But Sujin was talking about how difficult it can be to scale an agency in this article that I found a couple of days ago. Whereas above this is an article about a business, a PPC agency that I look up to a lot, called Client Boost, and their founder Jonathan has written this article all about how they scaled from 0 to $1 million in 12 months. Now, he wasn't saying it was easy, but he was showing that it was definitely possible and behind the scenes of how he did that. And I'm in a paid mastermind group with Jonathan. He's very accessible, and he is someone that has scaled an agency business very quickly and likes to share that story too. So my point with this slide is showing that there are very many different views. I hear a lot of people saying an agency business is one of the easiest businesses to scale, if easiest is the right term, because of margins, because of how clear it is in terms of what your offerings are and who's working on what, etc. But then others say it can be very difficult again because the margins. Some people say the margins are too low. Some people say the ROI for clients isn't there. Some people say that they lose clients very quickly. So there's a couple of different angles to this. Now I can see Elena says there is no sound right now. Is anybody else having that issue? I'm just going to do a quick mic check and see. Okay, Todd says the sound is fine. So it might be something on your end, Elena. Maybe try leaving the webinar and jumping back in again and seeing if that makes a difference. But that was the point of this slide. But then I wanted to go into the question that we had, right? So to scale or not to scale. Once your business has moved past that initial startup phase that some of you are at right now, and you've built a reputation and a client base, that's when the real strategy begins. And this is the point that I'm in right now, and it sounds like some of you are too. How do you scale your business, and how do you scale it, more importantly, without significantly increasing overhead and liability? And this is one of the most trying challenges that many people will face when they're trying to grow and scale their businesses. Because after all, you're here to make a profit, right? You don't want to take on more work but increase your payroll just to make the same amount of money at the end of the day. Like it's not really going to be worth it for you, right? So before you take on more clients, before you hire additional staff, maybe you should ask yourself some of these questions first. Now, of course, there are lots of questions to ask yourself when considering scaling, but I thought these were a few key ones that I've been thinking about recently that would make sense to go over. So the first one is this: what kind of business do I want to run? Why do I actually want to scale? And do I want to scale? You don't have to scale your agency to build a good living for yourself, to have a successful business. I know many people that run agency businesses. I don't know if you could call it an agency, but run agency businesses just with a couple of employees, but they are making very good money, very good numbers, and they're very happy with that. They're at a point that they're happy with. They don't want to scale. But if you're someone like me, for some reason I have this huge inclination, like I just want to scale a business. I want to build a big team. I want to hire a lot of people. I want to help a lot of people, and I want to support a lot of clients. I can't do that by myself. It's okay that some people feel that way and others don't. Like, you don't have to scale your business if you don't want to. So think about what kind of business you want to run. If you want to be able to be on your laptop on a beach all of the time or be traveling a lot, maybe scaling a business now isn't the right time for you. But these are things to think about. Okay. So the next question is, think about this. If I lose one or two clients, will I be able to maintain things like payroll and my overheads? Situations are always changing, especially in the social media marketing world and digital marketing world. Clients can leave you when you least expect it, and often that can be due to circumstances out of your control. With us, we always do a 3-month minimum agreement with our clients. I've talked about this before. And then it goes month to month rolling. But just because it's a 3-month minimum agreement, sometimes situations come up. I had one about a month ago, or not even, about 2 weeks ago, where we lost a client within the 3-month period. It was actually at the end of the second month. And the reason we lost them was because they were a social media management tool, and their access to the Twitter API was restricted, and they lost a huge portion of their customers, a huge base of their business. And that's something that I can't plan for, really. They can't plan for and expect, and we lose a client. So think about this. If you lose one or two existing clients, will you still be able to maintain things? Can you maintain your overhead without those clients? Because if the answer is no, you need to figure out maybe what client to employee or client to expenses ratio makes sense for you and your business financially. And you have to make sure that you always have a 1 or 2 account buffer just in case of any unexpected changes within the business, right? Taking on new accounts, hiring staff to service them. Of course, that's the definition of scaling and growing a business, but not if that retainer that you bring on is only paying for the new employee and not adding to your bottom line. The key is finding out the number of accounts required to comfortably cover the expenses related to it plus profit. Once you hit that number, that's when you start to hire, and that's when you start to scale. Another question to think about is, how involved will I be? How involved will you have to be in new accounts, and can you still deliver a great service for them? There are only so many hours in the day, and you can only personally handle so much. So The key, or one of the keys that I've heard from speaking to people that have done this about successful scaling, is having strong staff and a strong team in place to service the accounts as you grow, so that you have to have less involvement in the day to day and you're actually able to focus on working on the business rather than in the business. Establishing this firm chain of command within your business itself and implementing it from day one with any new accounts will help set the precedent for how account operations will go when you move forward and when you start to grow. If your clients right now are expecting you personally to be the main point of contact, you have to ask yourself if you have the bandwidth to meet their expectations. Because if you don't meet your clients' expectations, you're going to lose them, right? And you can't scale your business if you spend the entire day as a sole point of communication on all of your accounts. And you definitely don't want to take on a new account just to lose it a couple months later because you weren't able to meet expectations with communication. So think about, is the client that you're bringing on, are they willing to have an account manager, an additional point of contact? And if they are, taking on that new account, that could be positive for your agency's growth, as long as they said yes to happy having an account manager. And then finally, the other question to think about is, will scaling actually make you more profitable? This is something we've covered briefly in some of the previous points, but what are your margins like at the moment? Because scaling often may increase, or it's going to increase your costs. You're going to need to hire more people, spend more on tools maybe, spend more on just general time. And if bringing on these new clients is going to cost you more than it's worth, then is it actually going to help? Is it going to support you? Is it going to make you more profitable? That is something to really, really consider before you start to scale your business. Is that making sense so far for everybody? Awesome. So far, so good. Thanks, Todd. Good to see you here again. It's great to see so many familiar faces on here. Okay, so let's get into the tips, because I know this is something that is going to be very, very interesting. I will at some point soon go through Promo Republic slightly if the screen sharing allows us to do so and allows us to work. And then we'll just get straight to the Q&A afterwards, after we've been through these 5 actionable tips, because smaller audience, so I think we should spend a bit more time seeing how we can support each other. I'm always about doing that. So let's get into tip number 1. Now, tip number 1 from me, and this is something that I'm implementing as often and as much as I can now that we have this base and that we're trying to grow our business, is introducing tools that can remove the need for some manual labor. And there are lots of different ways you can do this, whether you want to call it automation, whether you just want to call it using tools, whatever. I'm going to share a really, really practical example, or 2 really practical examples, actually just 3. First one is going to be a story from my own business. So we manage paid ads for our clients. We manage Google ads and Facebook ads, and we do landing page design for them. That's our thing. That's what we do. Every so often, I bring on a consulting client where they already have a team that's doing their paid ads. They don't need someone to do all of the delivery, but they need some support and guidance on ad account structure, strategy, etc. Now, one of the consulting clients that we work with, every single month we have 2 phone calls with them. And on both of those phone calls, I bring on to the call my PPC specialist that works with me, because he spends a lot of time before those calls researching their accounts to find anomalies within the accounts, to find suggestions about what they could improve, data they could improve on, etc. Now, a few days ago, someone in one of my paid mastermind groups told me about this really intelligent, or 2 really intelligent tools that can help me uncover growth opportunities within client accounts automatically. And I've tried a few of these in the past. They didn't work out too well, but these 2 that I've logged into are incredible. They both work very, very well, and they are able to uncover data that my PPC specialist would usually have to spend hours and hours to find and would sometimes miss. So now this is a great way for me I can use these tools, and I don't need my PPC specialist on the call. So I don't need to pay him for that additional time, and he can be working on other stuff. So this is one really practical example. Another example is, for those of you, I know there's a few of you that said you're just one-man band, or there are a couple of you and you're managing multiple clients. Of course, an example that I'm always going to share and always going to talk about with you, if you're doing social media management. How many of you are doing social media management, by the way? Let me know in the chat box if that's one of the services that you offer. But if you're doing social media management, you want to spend not as little time as possible doing that. That's the wrong way to put it. But you want your time to be structured, focused, and you want to get the best return on that time, right? And I'm sure some of you will maybe be using Promo Republic already, or you'll be using other tools like Hootsuite or Buffer or whatever it might be. But using something like Promo Republic and specifically using the agency solution of Promo Republic is a way that you can improve the time that your team members that you personally have, so that you're spending less time on the laborious like manual tasks and speeding up the process instead. So let me actually just show you really quickly a couple of really cool things that you can do. Are any of you using the agency solution at the moment of Promo Republic? Let me know. Let me know in the chat box. I know some of you will be using like the free version or the standard versions. Are any of you using the paid version? Sorry, the agency specific version right now? I'm going to try and share my screen. Hopefully this will work okay. I tested before the webinar and everything was fine, but every so often we have problems with this. So let's just try something and see if it works. Give me a couple minutes, or not even a couple minutes, a couple seconds. It just says the screen sharing software is connecting. So let's see how this works. Because I really just want to show you quickly a couple of the ways that the agency-specific solution could support you and speed up that process. If it doesn't work, then we'll move on to the next couple of tips, and I can talk about it further down the line. So it looks like it isn't loading. So let's come back to this and try this in a few more minutes. But one of the ways that the Promo Republic agency-specific solution can improve this process for you is how many of you are currently utilizing things like Adobe Spark, Canva to create content. You're then downloading it, you're uploading it to your computer, and then scheduling it using a tool. I'm sure some of you will be doing that. And some of you will probably be having issues with client communication where you're putting together a long content calendar, sending it over to them, sending them post ideas and templates that you've written and asking them if they're happy with it, if they're happy to approve it, and you're spending time going backwards and forwards on emails. If you're doing either of those things, the agency-specific solution of Promo Republic can save you a ton of time. It has inbuilt client collaboration workflows and a ton of content creations, suggestions, and templates that you can utilize. There's actually over 100,000 templates like you're seeing here on the screen that you can be using and building from instantly, and you can have all of your clients' branding in here. You can have everything so you can quickly move forward with this kind of stuff. So those are just a couple of ways quickly that the agency-specific solution can save you some time, and we'll touch on it a little bit more later on in the webinar. But if you do want to learn more about it, you do have any questions, or you want access to all of those incredible resources that we discussed, just go ahead and click that button that's on the screen and schedule a call with the team. So number 2, building out scalable processes. Now think about sports. If any of you watch sports, sports are based on a team games very often. It's not just one individual unless it's like boxing or UFC or something like that. Championships are based on teams. And what I want to say is this: you have to think about process. This is something that I've been very weak at in the past and something that we're working on a lot more now. When you're growing, document a lot of the stuff that you have, like things that you do. It may seem very boring, but what happens when you go somewhere like, I don't know, McDonald's or any of those franchise restaurants? You go there because you know exactly what you're getting the same experience every time, and it comes out very quickly on this like conveyor belt like process, right? It's the same food, it's exactly what you expect, you know what you're going to get no matter whether you're in one part of the world or somewhere else. You know the experience will be the same. And you can get to that point with your agency too, when you have people that are coming in, new clients that are coming in. When you've built out proper processes and scalable processes, you can have that fast moving so that you can work on those client accounts faster, spend less time on them, but still get great results because you know exactly what you're doing and everything is documented. So you'll need to hire less people and you'll be able to spend time more efficiently. And you can get that team of yours to perform very well once you have these processes in place. So my suggestion to you is anything that you've done more than 3 times, document it and start building out processes for that. Okay, so that's tip number 2. Tip number 3 about how you can scale. I know this one seems very, very simple, but just increase your pricing. Pricing is the biggest lever that you can pull, just pull immediately, that can grow your business very, very quickly. I think a lot of you are probably afraid to charge more, and that's fine. But we're constantly increasing our prices. The more clients we work with, our pricing goes up because we know we're delivering more value, but also because we know the time that these things take, right? Think about your pricing model. Value-based pricing, I always recommend over like hourly or anything like that. And just remember that higher paying clients will often take, or I found this, the higher paying clients are actually easier to deal with and often take less work than the low paying clients. So why not just focus more on the higher paying ones? Like increase your prices, charge more when you're having sales calls, potential sales calls or sales meetings. Just keep steadily increasing your pricing until someone says no. And when people start frequently saying no, then you know that that price point is just too high. Or you need to do a better job at selling that price point to them. But this is one of the quickest ways that you can just immediately generate additional and grow, I guess, grow your agency quickly and scale is through increasing your pricing. Because if you increased all of your pricing just by 10%, imagine how much of a difference that would make to your bottom line. Okay, number 4 is pushing for growth. Now, I know this sounds very obvious because we're talking about scaling, but there's a difference between preparing to scale and then actually scaling and growing your client base. Once you've got the building blocks in place for scaling, like you have a firm foundation, you have a comfortable amount of customers, you have that backstop of if you lose a couple of clients, you'll still be okay. You have some processes built out. Then it's time to really start pushing for growth. And there's a few ways that you can do this. And some of my recommendations would be take a look at all of the sales you've done in the past and all of the marketing you've done in the past. What channels of yours have been the most successful for attracting new customers, and invest more, put more funds, more money, more time into those. Then start pushing for referrals. You should be doing this anyway, but really actively start pushing for referrals. Make sure you are requesting all of your happy clients to recommend you to other people, asking them for testimonials, using them on your website, putting them in marketing materials, putting them everywhere. Just be always pushing for that. I've now introduced a referral program for our agencies. So we're saying like if someone refers us to somebody else, we're going to give them 10% of the lifetime value of the client account. So trying to make it attractive for people to refer people to us. And then maybe consider collaborating with other agencies that provide services that you don't. So maybe you don't offer web design or you suck at branding. Maybe talk to some other agencies that do those things really well and see if there's scope for you to expand together by complementing each other. Like if someone comes to you and wants web design and you don't do it, you refer them to this other agency. You get a bit of a kickback, and then when they have someone that needs what you do, they're going to refer them your way. Think about that. And of course, don't forget about client retention, because that's even more important than client acquisition when it comes to scaling successfully. This is something that I want to work on personally, is making sure we're doing everything we can to keep our clients with us for as long as possible. Is that making sense so far, everybody? Let's see. I'm hoping the audio is still working okay too. Yep, okay, great. Thanks so much, Ches. So, number 5, fifth and final tip before we get into a couple more interesting things. Setting a clear vision. Now, you need to have a clear vision of where you want to go, whether that's 10 employees or 110 employees. Despite what many people think, it really does, from what I've heard from people that have done this already, it gets easier the more employees you have. But the key to that is having the right leadership, the right organization, and the right systems. Only then will it be easier. And once you figure out where you want to go, what you want to do, you want to go after, it's important to be very, very, very specific with this kind of stuff. And then I think personally that you need to specialize in something rather than being a full service agency. Of course, there are huge full service agencies, but to start scaling rapidly, I think you need to specialize in something, whether that's a niche, a service offering, something like that. I don't think everyone can be, or I don't think anyone really can be a full service marketing agency, because there are so many tactics out there, tips, knowledge areas that if you try and do everything, you can't do all of them well. So I think personally you have to specialize, especially if you're trying to win business outside of your local area or get attention of clients in other places that you haven't been able to in the past. And you really need clarity around the clients that you want to work with too. So I want you to drill down, really understand what their challenges are and why they would want to work with you, so that you can focus really heavily on creating solutions that matter for them. Like with us, we have, up until now, we've just worked with SaaS businesses, because that was my background and because I have such a clear understanding of their pain points are, what their problems are, and how to deliver for them. And only now are we starting to expand out our niche, but we are still very specialist because all we do is PPC campaigns and landing page design and optimization. Okay, so those are the 5 tips. One more thing before we get into the Q&A. I wanted to screen share with you guys and show you the agency-specific solution, but it didn't seem to be loading too well. I can try one more time if anyone would like to see it. So if you would like to see the agency-specific solution or like to try and see it, just drop me a yes in the chat, and I can see if I can share. But if not, I'll just go through some interesting data and stats and show you some images of what's involved in instead, and then we'll get to our Q&A session that we promised to cover. Okay, so no one has dropped a yes, so let's go through the imagery instead and a couple of studies, and then get to Q&A. This is a calculation that the team at Promo Republic did, kind of a competitor benchmarking of Promo up against some of the other solutions. How many of you are using some of these other solutions for managing your social media and your client's social media at the moment? How many of you are using things like Buffer or Hootsuite or Sprout or Agora, Sendable, any of that kind of stuff? I'll just wait. If no one wants to say yes, or if no one, that's also totally fine. Okay, so Ches is using Social Pilot. Cool. So we did this calculation, right? That if you're an agency that manages, let's say, 30 different social media accounts, and you have 5 team members and clients who want access to the tool, you would like to be able to collaborate with your clients. So you would like to be able to have a white labeled tool that you can collaborate with your clients in, which we'll show you what it looks like in a moment. And you want to monitor brand mentions of your clients. You want to monitor what people are saying about them on Google My Business, on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook, etc., etc. You want reporting, all this kind of stuff. If you choose Promo Republic over the alternatives, Promo Republic is so competitively. I actually tell the team I think they should be charging more. But choosing Promo Republic could save you anywhere from $600 to $5,400 every single year. And I know this because we've looked through all of these, but also I used to work for these guys, Hootsuite, and when I was there, if you wanted access to collaboration workflows with your clients, it would cost a minimum of $699 every single month. And promo starts from $99, and you get a discount if you use the button that I have on screen at the moment to schedule a call with the team. So that's one thing to bear in mind. It's a competition. It stacks up very well. You can see the feature set. Like we have the approval workflows, we have white labeling, we have this content library. This is something that nobody else has. So there are over 100,000 different ready-made posts for you, ready to go immediately, or edit and put your client's branding in. From the monitoring, you can be monitoring and collecting comments, mentions, hashtags from all of the different social networks, all in one place, which is great. But the most important thing to notice for any of you that work with local businesses is this. This is the Google My Business integration. No one else on this form has that. So bear that in mind too. Some good reporting. We have all this education that we put together, content as a service. There's lots of great things about this agency-specific solution of Promo Republic, where it will save you time and help your clients. And thanks, Elena, for the comment on the table. So this is essentially how it works, the agency solution, split into these 3 areas: creation, collaboration, and reporting. And this is how the workflow is going to save you time and help you serve more clients and increase the efficiency of your agency so that you can start to scale, because that's what we're here to talk about today. Now, some of the really cool features, I would have loved to show you the video, but unfortunately it wasn't working. But this is the graphics editor, very similar to Canva or Adobe Spark, if any of you have used that. But the advantage is built into Promo Republic itself. Now, when I first started out and I was offering social media management as a service, before I was using Promo Republic, my social media manager was creating images in those tools, downloading them on the computer, logging into Hootsuite, uploading them, and scheduling them. Now, from switching from Hootsuite to Promo Republic, he saved himself 5 to 6 hours every single week. And if I can save one of my employees 5 to 6 hours a week, think about that time and what it can be done to help us grow the business in other areas. This is what the collaboration platform looks like. So your clients, you can utilize Promo Republic as its own content calendar, and you can collaborate with it. You can schedule everything in here, and they can approve posts, reject posts, give feedback, edit posts, etc. And then finally, we have these customer business profiles. This isn't everything about the agency solution, but this is a few of the key areas where you can quickly switch with one click of a button between your different client accounts and have everything set up ready to go for them there. So that's a little bit of an insight into Promo Republic, the agency solution. That is actually the end of the content for the webinar that we covered today. So I want to stop right now and answer any questions anyone has, and do some Q&A if anyone wants to chat. If not, if you're going to leave us now, then thank you so much for deciding to spend the last 35, 36 minutes with me. I hope you found it valuable, interesting, insightful, and I really would love to see you back again on another webinar in the future. So thank you to everyone who came. I'm happy to hang around and answer questions because I have plenty of time. And if no questions come through, I'll start. If anyone has any questions, please reach out to me. I really would recommend, if any of you are just, your interest is piqued even the slightest little bit, set up that call so you can learn a bit more about the agency specific solution. It's not going to be a hard sell. The team will just answer any questions your platform looks like and show you how important it can help you grow and scale your agency. And if you use that link, you'll receive a discount and all of those other goodies that we mentioned. So if you're trying to build and grow your agency and you do focus on social media management, it would kind of be crazy if you not have a call. Even if this isn't something that you need right now, it's good to get it in so you know what's available to you. So thank you, everyone. Thanks, Elena, for that feedback. Does anybody have any questions? Please get them in if you do, and if not, I will start wrapping things up. Thanks, Todd. I really appreciate that. Okay, it doesn't look like we have any questions, so thank you, everyone. I hope you enjoyed it. I'm going to wrap this webinar up right now, and hopefully I will see you again very, very soon next time we have one of these, which I believe is next week. Same time, same place. Thanks, everyone, and I'll see you again soon.